Lycurgus banned gold from Sparta, and Pythagoras praised him for it, and traced to gold and silver money the cause of all economic crime. More than 2,500 years have passed since then, and still the riddle of interest which Lycurgus faced remains unsolved. All attempts to find a scientific solution for the economic problem have failed. Well known is Boehm Bavinck's book on the history of interest slavery. Yet, where do we stand today? Honor Helfrich, honor to the Reichsbank. Faithfully, it guards the god of gold, the cause of interest, the patron of economic chaos. The man who takes over the administration of money in Bavaria or in Germany or in any other country must be in a position to kindle a great new bright hope as a first step, as a foundation for reconstructive work. There must be hope in the hearts of the proletarians, of the dispossessed, and the place of despair. Without hope, no one can live and work, rather perish in terror. Several possibilities are open to you. You can return the administration of money to a representative of the money power, such as Dernberg. Such a course would clash with the strong determination of the workers never again to bend to the yoke of interest slavery. You can call to this office a socialist of the Marxian school, such as Gesell. What would he do? He would excuse himself with the declaration that economic development has not yet sufficiently matured. With this word of despair, he would drive the workers to acts of despair. If we have not matured after 4,000 years of interest slavery, when shall we? The communists say, hands off. The burnt child avoids the fire. Man is not yet ready for a highly social or communized life. Witness the countless graves of our communist brethren who have fallen in premature efforts to establish the system. Where, for instance, is our great brother, Gustav Landauer? What then shall be done? We cannot forever remain stuck in the mire of the interest or capitalistic system. Neither can we revert to primitive production. Forward we must go, forward. We must struggle through the bog of ignorance and despair and emerge on firm ground on the other side. I have already shown that the only road we can travel is the road of free economy. Everyone in Munich was surprised when the Bavarian proletarians called so many strangers to occupy the leading positions. It seemed a ridiculous and shameful fact that for a city which rates itself justly as a center of culture and education, that its leading men had no remedy for the sufferings of its own people. The fact that outside assistance was brought in has been explained far too superficially by bourgeois circles as foreign intervention, a bold thrusting forward of ambitious politicians. But if there was a thrusting forward, there must have been a thrusting aside. There must have been somebody displaced. In reality, these strangers displaced nobody. Their chairs were never occupied. From the ranks of the educated bourgeois circles, men were lacking who endorsed the cause of the workers and who wished to share with them their economic and social disadvantages. Here, as everywhere else in the world, was the unbridged gap between proletarians and bourgeois. Justly, the workers sense this indifference to their economic subjugation, as shown by leaders of their own blood and country, as nothing else than racial betrayal. Naturally, these same workers meet with less distrust than is felt towards their own blood relations, these racial foreigners against whom they cannot bring this reproach of racial treason. In addition, it must be said that the workers, as a class, are again and again, in a sense, decapitated, left without leaders. In effect, the rise of workers in the social scale means practically the murder of the kings, although here only the Roi de Gueux are involved. The symptoms so much complained of here. The pouring in of men strange to the country. This requires a different explanation from the one which is asked to be given. Painful and shameful as it must be to every truly nationally minded man, it must be seen in its true light. No ostrich policy is of use here. What is needed here is not the comfortable complacency of shirking and waiting, but the will to sacrifice and the earnest striving for ideals. We must lay our hands to the plow. We must be permeated with the spirit of brotherhood, because division into classes means national disintegration. True nationalism and patriotism does not sanction the exaction of interest by foreigners or permit the laws by which it is enforced. He who still cherishes racial or national sentiment should take stock of himself and repent if he has to confess that he and his have committed the interest treason against their own nation and their own blood.